Man, this looks good. As a DP, this lighting right here, it's pretty good, honestly. It's a bit bright, you know, very YouTube-ish, I guess you could say, but this lighting is kind of crazy. What's good, YouTube? Back here again with another video, and today's video is going to be about shooting with the RZ67. The RZ is a medium format camera. It shoots 120 film, which means you have about 10 shots on each roll of film that you have, which makes shooting very intentional when you shoot this and when you shoot film in general. Every shot has a price tag on it versus digital. You sort of just use up space on your computer. This camera is great for portraits and landscapes that's what I found is the best use for this camera is for portraits and just like
Oh, you almost had it. You gotta be quicker than
this camera is great for portraiture and for landscapes and architecture and stuff like that. That's what I mainly use it for. However, the workflow is very intuitive. You have the camera itself, but then you have a nice viewfinder. I have the waist level viewfinder, which is really nice. You get to look directly down and see your full image versus if you had like a point and shoot, you would only be able to, you know, you would have to look around in the eyepiece. But with the camera, you have the waist level viewfinder that you look down into, and then with the waist level viewfinder, you get a magnifier, which they come, I want to say, in like, you can get 7 different ones at different magnifications for your different camera. I don't know which one mine came with, but I mean, it's pretty close. In that workflow, you use the magnifier to focus, and then you put the magnifier down and you see the big viewfinder that you have, and you're able to compose your shot. With the viewfinder, it is like inverted, so everything sort of like flips. So left is right, right is left, you know, inverted. This camera is super modular. It's so many ways you can put it together. They have many backs, which is a plus for shooting film, because most times with most film cameras, you have to shoot through your whole roll before you can change it, or you'll flash your film. But with this camera, you can actually take the back off and have another back with another type of film. This camera makes it possible to take the back off and then for you to put another back on, so you don't have to shoot through your whole roll if you don't want to. Also, another cool back that you can purchase is the Polaroid Back, which I think is pretty dope. However, it can get pricey, but with the back, you can put that back on, and whatever you shoot, it prints off as a Polaroid, which is super good for, say, like studio shooting, if you want to see what your light fall off is going to be like, so you can have like a representation of what exactly your photos will look like. I think that's one of the biggest things, but it's just cool. I mean, it's a Polaroid on a regular film camera. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. But with the viewfinders, you have different viewfinders. You have the waist level viewfinder and you have the Prism Viewfinder. And I think those are the only two. I already told you about the waist level viewfinder, but the Prism Viewfinder, which is basically just an eye level viewfinder that you actually look through with your eye, through the diopter, and you're able to see everything right. Like nothing's inverted, it's flipped for you already. And then on top of that, it has a meter in it, which is great because me using a waist level viewfinder, I always have to have my light meter with me, and I always have to read my meter in order to know where exposure is. But with the Prism Viewfinder, you're able to see where your exposure is right then and there through the viewfinder, which I think is pretty cool. This camera has a very wide range of lenses, all the way from, I want to say, like maybe like a 30 or 40 millimeter, which is like a fisheye lens, all the way up to like a 180 millimeter, and any RB lenses, which is the predecessor to the RZ. You can use any of those lenses with the RZ without any adapters or anything. So that was a plus for me when choosing this camera, because I mean, more lenses, I mean more choices and stuff like that. The format of this camera is 6x7, which is pretty big, honestly. And it has this, I don't know, this nice ratio of a frame. Most people compare it to like a magazine because it's about the same ratio as like a magazine publication cover, which I think is pretty cool. And this is why this is kind of a professional camera, if you know what I mean. Because most times when you're shooting high-end photography, it's going to be published some way, somehow. And most times it's a magazine, or it used to be. Now it's Instagram and stuff like that. One feature that I think a lot of people don't really use with this camera is the multiple exposure feature, which I really haven't used. I used it once by mistake and the picture actually came out. I'll put that up on the screen now. It came out pretty well, but I really think I'm gonna go out and try some more stuff like that just to see the different results that I can get. One thing I recommend you to get is a camera strap. As much or as crazy as it sounds, or as logical as it sounds, really, because this camera is heavy. This camera is really heavy to carry around. So I do recommend getting a strap. I recently just got one maybe like 2 weeks ago, and it has helped a lot. While walking around the city, I'm not having to, you know, keep taking my camera in and out of my bag. I'm just able to have it around my neck, and then when I see a shot, I'm able to take it without all the hassle of, you know, pulling stuff out and then possibly dropping it or anything like that. So get a camera strap. It's very worth the investment, and I think you will thank me for it in the future. If you like this video, hit subscribe, like it. I'll see you in the next video.